Waiting for this to release in my region is just too far away. Very glad you're doing this.
I'm glad as well. I'm glad as well. But no, I haven't streamed in a while. And like basically, oh my God. This is why I really hope you guys are gonna like this album, because 2025 for me was pretty much entirely locked in my room working on this motherfucker. Hey, it's midnight. Okay, who's ready? Wait, I don't have the chat up right now. Let me see. Oh my God, I'm so excited that you guys are excited. I'm also like nervous as hell. Okay, I'm gonna put it back at the beginning. Let's go. So this is your captain speaking. All right, we all know this one. Let's go.
I'm gonna help through this. They say I need help through this. I can't get it off my mind. I'm calling favors tonight. It's a tiny price to become famous, right?
All right, we know this one too, chat.
Something straight through windscreens going on a drive. Head down the I-5 when you look across at me.
Oh, this is a good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. All right. Okay, next chat. We should know this song as well. Getting a lot of the singles out the way. Fun fact, this song was never supposed to be a single, but it's here.
When you lie down with me, we can stay here forever. It's like a dream.
Next song you guys don't know. The next one is new. And I'm like nervous for this one. Oh my God.
That I can't feel what I used to say. That I love you. The God that sent you is an angel, baby.
Okay, next one, guys. You haven't heard this one either.
This'll be my story. It's where you belong. You're home now. There's so many
Sound
things
cloud
I
fucking
wish
me
I
up.
could say. I'm gonna hit like lightning. I'm gonna hit like lightning.
Thank you. Oh, okay. New one.
What are you doing tonight? Try and resist me, but you know I can show you a good time. You got the fun, let's go. Baby, come over, please, baby, come over, please, baby, come, baby, come, baby, come, baby.
You know I nearly scrapped this song from the album. Next song is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Let's go. This is a pop anthem.
When you say my name and come quietly, I get a feeling that I can't let go. I love you. God must have sent you as an angel, baby.
Also, I played that end bit on... I played it. Next song.
Oh, look where we are. This party's for me because I fucking did that. Let me know. This is my party, this is my show. It's full of sunshine, bucket of snow. Hollywood hillside, lifestyle girl.
I wanted to make G-Funk, but I'm too white and British. So this was my version. Yes, I wanted it to sound like it could be in GTA. Okay, last song after this. Oh my God. I'm so interested in what people think of the last song.
Why was it all done so linearly? I paid my dues and I got my trophy.
that's my debut album, guys. Thanks for listening. So fucking good. Oh my god. You know, it's just so crazy because it's like, obviously it's not new. Full disclosure, by the way, I say like, oh, it's not new for me, like blah 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 blah. I probably have listened to this album through like maybe 3 times a week, every week for, I don't know, months. I mean, I finished the album in December, but even like while it was still like in development, like I listened to this shit a lot. It's so weird that it's like now a thing and people can have opinions about it and it's out of my control. Is Cara Cara Bonito one of your influences? I've actually never listened to Cara Cara Bonito, but I know that a lot of people who like artists that I like, and even those artists themselves, are Cara Cara Bonito fans. Like, I know that, like, I think it's kind of in that, like, Magdalena Bay, Porter Robinson kind of, like, thing. I hear Cara Cara Bonito come up a lot, but I've actually never listened to a single song by that. Like, is it a band? Is it a single person? I don't even know. So that doesn't surprise me. But if the interesting thing about the last song, because okay, this is the part of the stream where I am happy to just yap about this music. If anyone has any questions, anything, there is so much lore in this fucking album. I'm fucking ready to go. The interesting thing about the last song is I didn't know who to compare it to. I actually didn't know what artist I could compare it to, because the closest artist I can think that influenced that song was Muse. The funny thing is that end vocal, the one that's like, you are home now, you're home now, like all that stuff, that was the first take scratch vocal. So if you don't know what a scratch vocal is, it's basically when you record a vocal as like a draft with the intention of, it's kind of just, I want to hear what this vocal sounds like, and then if I like it, I'll re-record it later. Like, it's just a placeholder. I recorded that vocal as just an experiment placeholder to see what it would sound like, and I liked that vocal so much that I didn't even bother recording another one. I was just like, that's it, that's the vocal. That is one of the oldest songs on the album in terms of like the beginnings of that song. So the end bit, all of the RP stuff, I first made that in 2023 and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then the rest of the song I wrote actually quite late. I wrote the rest of that song in probably the middle of 2025. And I had been putting it off because I knew it was going to be like the most open and the most like explicit of all the songs. But yes, so that original scratch vocal, I probably recorded in 2024 and just had it sat on my hard drive for ages. And then I realized at one point I'm going to end the album with this. And then I knew that the album was going to finish with that vocal. And then I just wasn't really sure what to do with it. And then it took ages for me to go back and write the song. Favorite is definitely Angel. I'll have the album on repeat a lot. Oh my God. Okay. That makes me really happy. Angel, I wrote Angel on the morning of Worlds 2024. So I don't know if Liz is still in the chat, but I saw her that day. Liz, you had no idea that I had written that song that morning. I literally sat on my bed. I have my big piano, which is over there, on the bed with me. I was like, I'm just going to come up with an idea for a song. And I think I wrote the chorus first. And the inspiration song for that song in terms of its sound was Butterfly by Grimes. If anyone knows that song, it's got like a very thick bass in the chorus. And I really wanted that. But I wanted it to be like an absurdly popish song. But if anyone was listening to the lyrics, and sometimes it's hard to hear lyrics when you're hearing things for the first time, you might need to go read them. But the lyrics to that song are like sordid. Like that song is about a woman getting abused by a man who has basically promised her that he can make her famous, realizing she's in an awful situation, and then later kind of telling him to fuck off and getting out of the situation. So it's sordid, and then it's like giga liberating. I remember writing that song, and then when it came to actually producing the song and working on the song outside of just having this demo, I started getting like a bit stuck. I really wasn't sure And for a while, like, I hated it. I hated the song. I was like, what am I doing with this? And then I did have a breakthrough, and like, obviously the song became what it is. And then, because obviously the more astute of you will have maybe noticed that that song is a reprisal of What I Used to Know. So they have pretty much the same chorus. I actually wrote Angel first and then wrote What I Used to Know later down the line, but obviously put What I Used to Know before Angel in the album. What I Used to Know is more about, because those lyrics, they're like, oh, they'll love you, that God has sent you as an angel baby, this world needs you, that you are something more than just another broke girl. Like, in the context of What I Used to Know, that's meant to be about like your relationship with yourself after looking back and seeing a version of yourself that was so confident and so able to just do stuff, and now you're in a situation where like things are really hard and you don't remember how to feel that way. You're sitting there and you are trying to remember how to be that person who believed that like the world needed them and that they could do anything. And then in the context of Angel, those words are aimed at somebody else. So it's like, I love you so much because clearly you're doing so much for me. Like, it's a very Stockholm Syndrome song. It's like, I can see you're doing all these horrible things to me, but I know you have my best interest at heart and I love you so much for it. Like, I would be nothing without you. And it's about that kind of like the way that your self-esteem gets like destroyed and you feel like you need this person even if you know that they've done abusive things to you. So there you go. No one asked, but you got the answer. As much as I love the earlier EDM style stuff, I love the pivot to this pop style. I think your 2025 was well spent. Oh my God, how do I even respond to that? I'm really glad that you like the genre switch. I think I got to a point where I realized that pop made so much more sense for me because I found it more expressive, especially after I wrote Enter the Requiem, which is, as many of you know, I took it off of Spotify. And that was very, no lyrics. It was like pretty much a techno track, just a bit too slow to be techno. For me, that was like proving to myself that I could produce the electronic music that I had like dreamt of producing when I was 14. But I realized in the process of doing that I really didn't get anything out of it. Like, it didn't do anything for me. I didn't feel like it was scratching an emotional itch or a creative itch. I felt like I was kind of just doing it because I could prove I could do it. And like, I love electronic music. I love dance music. I'm such a club person and I still use elements of it in my music, obviously, but I just realized that like pop music I felt like I had so much that I could say in pop music, and it's so free. It's such a free genre as well. I got really sick when I was making dance music of trying to like apply to playlists, and it was like, well, actually you're like 1 BPM out of like eligibility for this playlist, or like just like there were the structural rules in dance music are actually quite crazy, and there's not as much room for just like off genres. Whereas in pop music, weirdly and perhaps counterintuitively, it's so free. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, great, I want to do that because I want to like carve out my own space in music. I have stuff to say, and also just personality wise, like I just feel like I am expressed well through pop music. Because that's the funny thing, right? Is like when I first started releasing music as aestheno, like it was a very like dark, gritty kind of vibe, which is a lot of music that I listened to growing up. Like I love like really bassy, gritty electro music, and I still love bassy, gritty electro music. But I realized that that's just not the best way for me to express myself. Something to Believe in and 5-Star Girl are my faves. We love a summer extrovert banger appreciator. I love 5-Star Girl. You know what? For a while, I fucking hated it. There are a couple songs on this album that I really had to get over hating. 5-Star Girl was one of them because it was very frustrating to produce. Because I was basically... My whole thing with 5-Star Girl is I want to write a G-Funk song. I am not going to fucking start trying to rap and pretending that I'm some like Los Angeles-based 90s fucking rap god. I'm none of those things. And it's not... I was like, I want to honor how G-Funk makes me feel. and the vibes I get from G-Funk without planting myself in a genre and a culture that actually isn't mine. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So I wrote that first verse, and then obviously it speeds up and it has a beat that comes in, and it becomes more of like a pop song or a dance song or whatever. But the sound design and the way I had to mix things to make that kind of genre transition in the song work was unnecessarily difficult, unnecessarily hard, and fucking it drove me nuts. And I remember thinking, like, when I came to mastering that song, I was like, this song may be unlistenable. I was really worried it was unlistenable. And then I fell in love with it again. I suspect most artists go through a spell of hating what they create, though. Yeah, the worst one... What was the worst one on this album? Probably Soft Shades. The really sad thing about that is I loved Soft Shades when I wrote it. I loved Soft Shades when I mixed it. Then when I came to mastering Soft Shades, I had such a hard time with it because I realized in the mastering process that I'd... Oh no, my camera! Wait, 1 sec. Come on, camera. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I basically got to the mastering stage of Soft Shades and kind of realized that there were things I had done in the mix that sounded good in the mix but then sounded bad in the master, and I had to go back and remix parts of the song, and I kept having to like mix a bit, put it through my mastering chain, listen to see if it sounded right, go back and change something again. And I kind of had to keep delving deeper and deeper into the hole of things to change in the mix. I think I did 35 different versions of the master before finally getting to a point where I was like, I'm okay with this song. But I was really worried that like I simply would just never like that song again, because I was like, maybe it just sounded good in its first mix. I'm never going to get it to sound exactly like that once it's mastered. Therefore, I'm just never going to be happy with the song. And the problem is with the bass in that song. Like, it's a very layered bass. And so it was like, to get the bass to be listenable, like you could hear it and feel the bass, and get the compression right on the bass in the multi-band compressor that was in the mastering chain. Like, I had to have it a certain way in the mix, but it was like go very slightly too far one way, and like you just couldn't really hear the bass enough to make it sound like it was supposed to sound, but slightly too far the other way, and it was like it was too bassy, it was rumbly at the bottom, like it actually, like, I hate even thinking about it. It just makes me mad. To be fair, Feeding Demons, I also mastered about 30 times, but I made Feeding Demons long before I even knew I was going to do an album. So I kind of don't even mentally remember it as being part of the album process. Like, I'm too far removed from that to kind of be thinking about that. But I do remember Feeding Demons took me a long time to master. I feel like even where I was skill-wise is so different. As a person born and raised in LA, growing up on that kind of music, I appreciate that and putting your own personal take on it. I think that's why it's my favorite. No, I love that, because like so much of this album, I think a lot of people who already follow me online like know that a lot of this album is in a way a love letter to LA. Like, LA is such a special place to me. I find it funny. I've seen people talk about me on Reddit before where they're like, yeah, she moved to LA recently. And I'm like, did I? When was that? LA is such a special place to me. And one of the hard things that I find hard to get across in my art, or like, how do I put this? I find hard to express in my art in a way that other people might relate to, or in a way that like accurately conveys what I'm trying to say, is the role that Los Angeles plays in my life, especially in the context of like the story of this album and the lore behind this album is in my early 20s, and when my career was going really well and I was pretty well known online and whatever, like I thought I was a certain person, right? And I expressed myself in a certain way, and I wore a lot of black, and I had my leather high heel boots I wore everywhere. And I remember I would go on broadcasts and we would talk to the stylists before going to the broadcast, and I would say to them, I won't wear anything that's not black. There was a specific broadcast I was on once where they did not allow anyone else to wear black because I had demanded that I was only going to wear black. And you know, I was such a London girl, and I went to LA a couple times. I liked it there, but you know, it was like whatever, you know. I didn't have really strong feelings. I had friends there, so I enjoyed that, but like I was this certain person, and then a lot of things happened in my mid-20s. I think with COVID being a pretty big separator, because September 2019 I turned 23. So in COVID, I turned 24. And at that time, I had a situationship that was based in Canada. I had been traveling a ton for work already, obviously, but like London was still home. That was when London stopped feeling like home. And in 2021, I went back to the US 2 days after the borders opened, and I went to LA, and I wanted to go back and go see my friends and stuff, and I just started dating somebody who lived there, and LA became this huge, it was the stage upon which I figured out who I was as a person past the age of 25. Does that make sense? It was kind of like that. I don't want to say quarter life crisis, but honestly, it kind of was. I just remember feeling like something was out of date in the way I was living my life before, and the person I was, and the way I was expressing myself. And part of that was I ended a relationship at the very beginning of 2020, and that guy was great. Like, we're still really good friends. He actually just recently got married, which is wild. But that was like, I feel like I'm being called to move into something new. And I really just felt like LA was my place. So many of my friends were there. I now had this relationship there. I felt like I lived my best life there. Like, all of the most interesting things I did were there. I loved being in the hot weather. I loved the way that I dressed there. I loved, the way I live my life. Like, my daily life in LA is like how I want to live. And what kind of happened then was everything in my life fucking fell apart. People obviously know I left esports, but people don't know the story behind me leaving esports. And it, like, to be honest, like, it was extremely bad. And then at the same time, this relationship that I was in, the one that was based in LA, like, that fell apart. But that partner, when not long after we had first met, had seriously sexually assaulted me. And it was something that I hadn't told anyone. I was in complete denial about. It took me a very long time, even at this point, to tell anyone. Like, we're talking like a timeline of years. And these things happened concurrently. Those things happened at the same time. And when I say the same time, I mean, I'm pretty sure the seeds of these sequence of events happened on the same weekend. And my fucking life unraveled. For years, I just had no idea who I was. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I would just cry every day because I just felt so lost. I felt like I couldn't tell anyone about these things that had happened. I couldn't tell anyone about the shit that had happened in my job. And I definitely felt like I couldn't tell anyone about what my ex had done. And I especially was worried about him. Like, I really tried to protect him. And that was really hard. That like was really hard. And I still kind of thought, like, if I hold out, I thought for a really long time that if I held out on keeping it secret about what had happened in my job, and if I held out on keeping it secret about what had happened with my ex, then those things would come back and I could feel like worthy again, and I could have my life back. I just needed to have the tenacity to keep this shit to myself. You know, the last song on the album, You're Home Now, like, that song is from the perspective of me walking along Venice Beach and like kind of thinking through this whole line of whatever. And the whole thought process is like, I came here when my career was going, like, you know, everyone says that your career will never work out. It's never going to be you. But it did work out for me. And I had this boyfriend and I was really happy here. And now I'm back here in LA and I don't have those things anymore. And it feels like I'm only here to try and remember what my life was like when I did have those things. So that's kind of how those lyrics are, right? And where the song goes is, it's like, this has given me so much PTSD. I have had so many medical problems. I have blown up my entire life. But ultimately, if I want to decide where I belong, I get to decide where I belong. Like, that's the whole point of Your Home Now, is it's like, everyone's gonna say shit's gonna happen, but I get to decide where I belong. And for me, like, just because LA is like such an important location in the context of all these things that have happened in this story, like for me it's so synonymous with the person I want to be. Let me look at the chat. Damn, I wish someone had told me I moved to LA. Yeah, I find it funny when people online don't know where I live, or like even in real life no one can ever tell where I'm from. People think I have a really fucked up accent. You found yourself, as corny as that sounds? Yeah. But even like writing this album was a big part of that. So some of you may know this because I've kind of hinted it at places online. In December of 2025, I confronted that ex and told him to never speak to me again, which is something I never thought I would be able to do. And I truly think that finishing the album was a major part in me even being able to do that, because as I finished the album, and I realized the moral of the story that I had told, even though I was the one who had written it, I was like, oh. And it was like a huge moment in my life. It's wild to me that the timing of this album coming out, like for so many years, I thought I would never be able to talk about these things. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Hey, sorry I missed the listening party. I'm at work right now. I'm rounding out my patience. But I'm glad you got to release this album. You're being more yourself again. Congratulations to your progress and putting your album in my playlist. Have a wonderful stream. Oh my god. Are we making a deluxe edition? I don't know, but it's not a definite no. It's just also not a definite yes. I'm all in for the vinyl release if that ever happens. I really want to. I don't know if you're in the Discord or if you're in the broadcast channel that I have on my Instagram, but I shared images because I did a vinyl mock-up like ages ago to see what it would look like and to see how much it would cost. Realized it was way more expensive than I could justify spending. Yeah, so I never ended up doing it, but I kept the images of it, and so I did put those so that people could see them. And like, I would love to believe that I could have that vinyl one day. Keep making music, quite inspiring journey from physics major to caster to music maker and skater. Like, I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives. Like, I'm gonna turn 30 later this year. I have used my 20s quite well. Physics degree, nearly became a banker. Who knows what my life would be like now. I would be so fucking rich. Don't have a vinyl player, but I'll take a CD release. I don't have a vinyl player. I own one vinyl, and it was a gift. It's my favorite album of all time. My friends gave it to me as a gift for my 21st birthday, and it's still in the shrink wrap. Origin of Symmetry is my favorite album of all time. It is wild to me that I have a fucking album on Spotify. Although Hit Like Lightning, for whatever reason, has not been marked as an explicit song, which is bad because it is an explicit song. To be honest, Feeding Demons should be marked as an explicit song as well. Maybe. I don't really know. I don't fucking know. I don't know how to do this shit. I need someone to be my manager. Does anyone want to manage a pop artist? Does anyone want to be a music manager? You already manage one? What use are you? You guys gotta stream the fuck out of this album, I swear to God. I swear to God. Dude, music is such a weird thing. Like, I can sit here and be like, yay, listen to this album. And then, like, I don't know, tomorrow I'll, like, cry about, like, no one listens to my music. You know, just the fun kinds of things that we do when we choose these sorts of career paths. Hee hee, ha ha. Hee hee ha ha. When's the UK tour happening? Oh my god. You guys have no idea how much I would love to do that. I'd love to work with you if that happens in the future. I could easily get you a venue in Milton Keynes. Bestie, send a girl a DM or an email or something. I'm gonna need those 3 tracks for the deluxe. Ooh, well, I have some half-finished songs. In my head, they're sort of, they play the role of deluxe songs. I just don't know if I'm going to release them as a deluxe, if that makes sense. I will release them, and they will be in this era. They will be in the Like Lightning era. Is it going to be a Like Lightning Like a Lightning Deluxe? I don't know. It's nice to see the old chatty Geo back. Yeah, the Geo who never shuts the fuck up. I'll tell you partly why I'm chatty is because I really need to pee, and so I'm in that like it's also like 2:21 a.m. and like, guys, at this time I would usually be playing Overwatch. That's what I've been doing with my 2 a.m.s. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna leave it there because I really need to pee. I really want to take off my makeup. I want to take my hair out. I think I deserve some rest. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Like, this was genuinely really fun. I had no idea how this was gonna go. I didn't know who was gonna show up or if anyone was gonna show up. I really, really appreciated this. This was a very cool experience. I really hope that you know, assuming that you're not somebody who hated the album, I really hope that you're able to like build your own relationship with the songs in the album. And I think that regardless of whether or not you know my story about the album, which I've spoken a bit about today, what I find really cool is when people tell me like, oh, I love this song of yours because it makes me think of this, it makes me think of this, like I connected to this song because of this. And what I want is for people to like feel really like liberated and very free and just able to do what they want and like, you know, I don't know, like just feel very in control and excited by life. And so yeah, I hope that you guys get to have your own relationships with the music in this album. And obviously I am always all ears for hearing what people, you know, if someone says to me this is my favorite song on the album, or even just tells me thoughts they have about a song or anything about it, like I just love. So any thoughts, like feel free to just spam me with them in my Discord because I love reading that shit. Like the idea that I worked on a piece of art and people like have actual real thoughts about it, like insane. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming. Stream the album. Oh my god, I'm trying to, this is my half a heart. Stream the album and I will see you guys soon. All right, I love you guys. Goodbye.